Hi, everyone. My name is Doreen Long. I'm the Associate Dean of Students at New England College. Thank you for taking the time to join our presentation today about residential life and housing. I have a colleague here with me that I would like him to introduce himself. And then we're going to talk a little bit about residential life and housing and how you can prepare your student to have a successful time at NEC living on campus.
Hi, my name is Graziano Di Ciaula. You can call me Graz or Graz or Graziano, whichever you'd like. I am the Assistant Director for Residential Life and Housing.
Next slide, please. So, residential life and housing, what do we do? Our mission statement is to foster a community that provides a healthy and safe learning environment that promotes intellectual curiosity, personal accountability, civility, and social development for all students. That's a lot of words. Well, how do we do that on a day-to-day basis? There's a lot going on in that sentence there. The point of this presentation is to show you that there are so many folks on this campus that are going to help your students transition from being in high school, or if they took a year off, wherever they were before NEC, when they finally come to NEC, there's going to be a lot of new folks, a lot of new things going on, a lot of just a whole different transition living on their own. So the point of our presentation is to show you that there are so many folks on this campus that can help your student, especially in residential life and housing. So Graz is going to go through a few of those people, including myself and Graz. There are many other people on campus that are eagerly awaiting for your student to arrive.
So, as Doreen said, the next few slides, we're going to meet some of these wonderful resources. The first, and I think possibly the most important, are the RAs, the resident advisors. We have 25 resident advisors who are students who live within the residence halls and most of the floors. The RAs are typically the first students that many students get to meet, and they serve as a resource to many of the services offered on campus. They can do some things like assist in putting in work orders. They can show students how to put them in themselves or put them in on behalf of the students. They're able to navigate any minor roommate issues, typically around using each other's things or talking about ways they can live more positively together. One of the most important things they do is help students work on coming up with expectations to live positively together. So at the beginning of the year, they give out some roommate agreements so they have an opportunity to speak with the residents and go through what's going to work for them and what might not work. They are huge on building community. We do a lot of really fun events. We know all the clubs and organizations on campus. So if there's a student that doesn't feel like they have a place to be, we're confident we can find that place for them. And the RAs are really great resources and connecting them to different groups around the campus. And then, of course, to answer any kind of general questions within the residence halls. A great example here is where's the laundry? Above the RAs are the area coordinators, also known as ACs. The ACs oversee all of the RAs in the residence halls. There are two full-time staff members who live within the residence halls too, so that they're able to respond to any concerns throughout the day and even into the nighttime hours. They may help in assisting more serious roommate issues that the RAs or the residents can't seem to figure out on their own, or if they feel like they need somebody that they can look up to help them navigate that. The area coordinators are excellent resources for that. They may ask questions to the ACs that they may not feel comfortable speaking with the RAs. Maybe something about their classes that they're not doing well, or they just want to speak to an adult who they can talk and trust that's different than what another student at college. If there's any kind of wellness issues, if they're feeling depressed or if they're feeling like they need to talk to someone more seriously, they can absolutely go to the ACs or any kind of behavior concerns that are happening either in the student's room or outside of the student's room in the residence halls, and they want to talk to someone to discuss those concerns. The area coordinators are here to help. And then we have the housing coordinator. She is a full-time staff member whose office is in Simon Hall. They answer any kind of room billing questions. They help students get signed up to stay late for breaks or come back early from breaks. They can help navigate any kind of meal plan questions. They'll also assist when your student is going through room selection to select a room for the following year. They field a lot of questions and they answer a lot of the emails that come through the Res Life email account. Then there's me, the Assistant Director for Residence Life and Housing, and I oversee all of the residential life staff in the residence halls. So that's the 2 area coordinators and the 25 RAs. And I helped with making sure the school year goes through smoothly. If there are any other issues that seem to percolate through the staff and get to me, I am able to assist in resolving some more difficult situations. And I also get to know a lot of the students myself. So some students may just feel comfortable coming to me, and that's okay. I welcome students to come to my office. It's always a pleasure to get some one-on-one time with students. And then there's Doreen Long, who's also here, and she's the Associate Dean of Student. She oversees all of us in residence life and housing, and I'll let her speak for herself regarding what she does.
Yeah, so as Gratz mentioned, I also supervise a few other offices on campus. The Director of Student Conduct, the Director of Student Engagement, and the Director of our Family and First Year Student Program. So all of those folks, if you think about what they all do, they really connect well with what we do in residential life and housing. So we truly are a campus where nobody falls through the cracks. So as Grad said, if there's a student that may be, struggling, meeting people and wants to join a club, I can walk down the hall and ask our director of OSE, when is a certain club meeting? Occasionally students may have some situations that happen in the conduct world. So the director of student conduct can reach out to me and we can figure out what the best solution is to get a student back on track if they may have violated one of the policies. And our first year programs, most of our students that are first year students live on campus. So as Gratz mentioned, if they're having some issues, just getting adjusted to campus or homesick, I can also reach out to our director of first year and parent programs, and we all work really closely together to triage a situation or to deal with any situation that comes up that your student might have. And the point of all of this presentation is to see all of the different resources that are pretty much in the Simon Center. So we're all on the same hallway. We all work really closely together to make sure that every student's time here at NEC is as successful as can be.
Absolutely. And just to add on to that, there are so many people here to help. So whether it's the RAs, the ACs, housing coordinator, me, Doreen, and anyone in the student development office, there are so many ways for students to receive any kind of intervention or question or whatever it is. They can come to us and we are more than happy to help them. So if your student's ever saying, I don't know who to turn to, just think back to this presentation and know that there's a lot of folks in Res Life and student development that's here to help.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the housing process. So for students who are living on campus, new students, you should be, hopefully when you're watching this, your student should be in the admissions portal. If they are not in the admissions portal when you're watching this, you should ask them to reach out to their admissions counselor to make sure that they can get into the portal, because there are a lot of forms that students need to fill out. One of the most important forms for students to fill out is our housing contract and our roommate survey, which is all in the portal. So those housing contracts and roommate information surveys are due on July 15th for students that are starting in August. If you are starting in January, those would be due December 15th. So for students that are starting in August, at the end of the day on July 15th, we need to know who you want to be your roommate, what your preference for buildings is. If you don't have a roommate in mind, that's fine. When you're in the portal and you're filling out that section of the roommate survey, it has a box that you can check that just says, I don't know who I want to be my roommate. Res Life can assign me someone that they think would work best for me. Probably about 65% of students don't have a roommate in mind, which is totally fine. I think it's a good idea to, meet some new people. Sometimes students like to be roommates with people that they met in high school, which is fine, but it's also a great way to meet somebody new. So if you don't have a roommate in mind, that's fine. We'll take all that information in and try and put you with somebody that we think is going to be a good roommate pair for you. So on or around August 1st, we will send your housing assignment letter, which will include your roommate's name, your roommate's email, the name of the building that you've been assigned to, and the room number of that building. So those letters are sent to students' NEC email accounts. So pretty much at this point moving forward, we don't communicate with students via like a Gmail account. We use their NEC email. So if it comes to be August 1st and your student is saying, I haven't received my housing assignment, make sure that they're checking their NEC email, because those letters will be sent to that account, not to their Gmail account. So if for some reason your student doesn't get their housing contract and their roommate survey submitted by January 15th, there's no need to worry. They still will get an assignment. It just may not get done by August 1st. Because what we do is we have to take all of that information that is submitted and we have to pull it all out of the admissions portal. So we kind of have to freeze everything for a little bit so that we can start to, it's like a giant puzzle. We have to put all of the puzzle pieces together. Who wants to be with who and what building, what room, make sure everybody's meal plans are correct so that we can send out those letters on August 1st. So if you're also watching this too and you are a deposit that is depositing after July 15th, that's fine too. Like I said, everybody does get a roommate assignment. It just may be a little bit after August 1st. If for some reason you don't get your contract and your roommate survey in by July 15th. So no need to worry. Okay. Can we go to the next slide? Thanks, Graz. So for students that are moving in August, if you are on a fall sports team, or if you are participating in one of the other pre-orientation programs, you will have a move-in day that is a little bit before what we call the big move-in day. So the big move-in day is the Thursday before classes begin in the fall. So fall athletes, you should check with your coach to make sure that they tell you what date that you're going to move in. And you should continue to check your NEC email for any updates over the summer, because sometimes, things change. But fall sports teams typically are going to move in anywhere from about 12 days to, 10 days early. So they can be here for preseason. There are some other pre-orientation programs too. If your student's participating in that, they can also reach out to the person who is running that pre-orientation program, or they can email the Res Life account and we can find out that information for them as well. So you're also going to hear something called FastPass. So FastPass is a way that you can just pull up in your car and receive your housing information without having to get out of the car. So in order to be eligible for FastPass, you have to have all of the information that is required in the portal to be completed. This also includes submitting an ID picture. So you have to have everything in the portal all complete. So basically it means you don't have to get out of your car to, meet with somebody from wellness or meet with somebody from SFS. You'll receive instructions about where to go, and you literally will pull your car in and somebody will come over and hand you an envelope, and then you get on your way to go to the residence hall and to start unloading your things. So you'll also start hearing a little bit more information about that as it gets closer. But that's something that if you, can get that done, it just saves you a little bit of time. But if you don't, it's not a big deal. If you do have to park and come in and meet with somebody from Wellness or SFS, we're a pretty small campus, so it's, you're going to park and you may have to walk about, 20 feet. So it's not a huge deal if you don't get everything done to be eligible for FastPass. Okay. So as you start to work with your students over the summer, you're going to want to know what they should bring to campus. So I have some advice for all of the students, if you're watching, and parents who are watching as well. Take everything that you want and you think you should bring, lay it out on the floor at your house. And then you need to take that and you need to cut it in half, because 99% of the new students are going to be in a shared space. So you're going to be sharing half a room, or if you're in a triple, you're going to get a third of a room. So everything that you think you might need to bring isn't going to fit in half of the room. So we have provided you this list. There's a QR code here. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you to this what to bring list. And we've really tried to narrow it down of the things that you should bring. And then there are some things that you may want to bring. You don't necessarily have to. And then at the bottom of this, there are those items that we do not want you to bring. Okay. So please take a look at this to make sure that, when your student is packing, they're also, paying attention to this, so they're not bringing things that we're going to have to ask them to take home before you even, get them up to the room. So if you have any questions about any of this, please let us know, because I know sometimes this can be a little bit overwhelming. And we invite you, if you've come to campus, if you're coming for an expedition or you were here for expedition and were able to look at a typical room, just remember what you saw in the room is going to be half of that room. We also, can remind folks that if you live close by and will be going home at Thanksgiving break, you may want to, not bring all of your winter sweaters and all of your winter things. If you're going to go home for Thanksgiving, that's a good time to kind of pack up some of the summer and fall clothes, and then bring back your heavier winter jackets and sweaters and boots and things that you'll need for the winter, and especially over the winter break. When you go home for winter break, good time to bring back, even a couple more sweaters and maybe your really, really thick winter coat. Okay. So as I mentioned before, we have an email address that goes to many folks in the Res Life department. So if you email from an NEC email, if you email reslife@nec.edu from another NEC email, that message gets to us very quickly. If you email from a non-NEC email, we do have a pretty substantial spam folder that a lot of emails will go into, and so it may take us a day or two to actually see your email. So if you have a question or your student has a question, it's really helpful if you can send it from your student's NEC email account, because that will get to us immediately. If it's sent from a Gmail account, like I said, sometimes we don't see it right away, and we want to be able to answer questions as soon as possible, because we know that over the summer things are going to happen really quickly and you want to get your questions answered as soon as possible. We also have an Instagram account. You can see the address there. where we, throughout the course of the year, will, if students follow us or parents want to follow us, you'll see all of the comings and goings and great programs and different activities that are happening in the residence halls. So if you can, follow us on Instagram, we would appreciate that.
That's it. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and we will see you soon in August. Thank you.
Bye.